Good morning. This is a virtual PBX-admin training. The training will last about half an hour, depends on load times. We do record these trainings, so if you can't stay for the whole time, that's fine. You can come back later. This also allows you to share the training with other people who need to be system admins on your account. Now, this training is designed to show you where things are. I'll be referring to the show notes, especially that support page link you see there for the detailed step-by-step directions. In case you need a feature, you can look up the particular feature on the support page and get those instructions. Most of the instructions do have screenshots as well. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Here we have our dash login page. You can find this at dash.virtualpbx.com. To get logged in, we need 3 pieces of information. The first is your username, and that's your email address, which should be in all lowercase letters. Your password, which is case sensitive, and then your account name, which is typically your organization name. And then you would click on the sign-in bar down here at the bottom. Now, if that doesn't work, just above that sign-in bar, there's a forgot your info link. You can click on that. It's going to flip the box around. We still need that email address. And then we only need one of the 2 following pieces of information. Typically, the account name is the easiest, but if you happen to remember one of the phone numbers you have on your account, you can enter that instead, and then click on Reset Password. This will then send you an email. In the body of that email will be a link that lets you temporarily log in to change your password. The system will then log you back out, and you'll be back here on the login page. Type in that new password. You'll have the option to click on Remember Me, and then click on Sign In. Once you're signed in, you'll be on your dashboard page, which shows you a quick snapshot of your account. Up at the top, you have your name, and you can click on your name. It will open up a big pop-up, which starts you up on your user account page. So if you just change your password, you just saw this, but this is where you would go to change that password. As system admins, you also have access to the account level settings over here on the left. And the most common thing that's changed here is the time zone for the account. And that's so that way your voicemail timestamps are correct. System admins can also manage the add-ons for the account. This could include such things as text forwarding, multiple auto attendants, dynamic caller ID, and advanced reporting. These will increase your bill. There'll be a pop-up letting you know what that increase will be, and you have to confirm it. And then the feature will be available to you. Then over here on the left, we have the billing portal. And this link here actually lets you get to the billing portal itself. That's where you would go to update your payment information or your billing address, as well as see previous invoices. And then any system admin can click on the cancel account link here on the left. And when you click on the cancel account button on the right, there'll be a couple forms to fill out, and then your account will close at the end of the current billing cycle, and then you'll get a last final invoice. And when you're done here, we'll click on close at the top right. To the right of my name, I have a D&D toggle. If I click on it, this means my account will be on do not, or my user will be on do not disturb, meaning calls to my user go to voicemail. Or I can toggle it back to receive calls normally. Little phone icon here. This opens a new tab and takes me to webphone.virtualpbx.net. If I have a web phone device on my user, I can use my dash login on that page, log into the page, and use Chrome, Firefox, or Safari to make and receive calls. If you don't have a web phone device on your user, you won't be able to log into that page. The little speech bubble icon here, this opens a new tab, takes you to virtualtext.app. That page has its own login information, and that is where you would go to make use of the virtual text feature. Little question mark icon here, this opens a chat window to speak with our support team, who would then help you work through any feature that you're working with. The three horizontal line icon here, the hamburger, is the menu icon. This gets you to other dash features. We'll cover these briefly at the very end. Little arrow to the right is to log out of the account. And here in the center, total users. I have 6 users on this account. These are people who make and receive calls. Then I have my devices. These 3 right here, the web phone, soft phone, and SIP phone. All 3 of these count as a VoIP devices, voice over internet protocol, user internet connection. Total numbers, I have 13 phone numbers on the account and 2 breakdowns. Assigned numbers and spare numbers. Assigned numbers in use, right? Spare number on your account, you might be being billed for it. You're just not currently using it. USDID versus US toll-free. US toll-free is actually US Canada toll-free, right? 800 number, 888 all the way down to 833. USDID just means a US local number. Up here towards the top right, the main number block, these 3 numbers all act the same way. They go into the same part of my system. For instance, they're all going to be playing the same main greeting. The conference number, you get multiple conference room numbers if you want. They all go to the same set of conference rooms where you'll be prompted to enter the conference room number and PIN number. The fax box number, you can have one main fax box number, and this is your inbound fax number. This also allows you to edit the fax box to allow for outbound faxing, which we'll be covering later. The company directory, there's 2 links here. The first one is CSV. Just download that file, use your favorite spreadsheet program. It's going to have a listing of all your users with their names, their email addresses, their extension numbers, and their devices. The softphone link, this downloads a file that you can use with the VirtualPBX desktop softphone application. So if you're using our softphone app on a Mac or Windows PC, download this file, then upload it to that app. And in your contact list, you'll see your other staff members' names who have the VirtualPBX softphone, and you can see their status of their VirtualPBX softphones, i.e. if they're on a call or not. VirtualPBX Store, this will open up a new tab and take you to store.virtualpbx.com. That's where you can order things like a VoIP phone or headsets or anything else. Account realm, each account has its own account realm. This is one of the 3 pieces of information you would need to program or provision a third-party softphone. It is also something needed for outbound faxing, which we'll be talking about later. We're going to scroll back up top here into this blue bar with the caller ID. This is your company caller ID. In the pull down here will be your main numbers. You can select one of your main numbers and that becomes your default number. For instance, this is what number your VoIP phones would use for their outbound caller ID. So select the number and then click on Save Changes. Hold music. On your Dash account, you can upload media files, .wav or .mp3 up to 1 megabyte in size. This hold music file will play after your staff members have pressed hold on their VoIP phones, then it plays. So click upload, click on browse to find the file, click the up arrow icon, and then save changes. Now hours is part of main number, but especially on a new account, you're going to want to set up users with devices and possibly groups. So over here on the left, we'll click on users. On your use page, you see all the users on the account. The people with the blue suit icon, these are your system admins, whereas the gray people icon are your standard users. Your system admins can do everything we're talking about today. System users only have limited access. To add new users, you click on Add Users up here at the top, and you fill out the form. Right, first name, last name, pretty easy. The email address used for login needs to be unique for each user. This is how the system communicates with your staff, like password resets, voicemail notifications, that sort of thing. Create a new password for the user, and then enter an extension number. We start you off with 4-digit extensions, as that gives you a bunch of room to grow. It also lets you save 0 through 9 for your main menu. By default, the system will automatically create a voicemail box for the user, just saving you a step for later. You can choose to include a user in the user directory. This is something you can change at a later date if you want to. You can send emails to a different email address. So if you want those password resets or voicemail notifications to go to an email address other than the one used for login, you would click on the box here and then enter that different email address in the box provided. This is also something you can change at any time. And then send credentials to the user. I do recommend checking this box. And this just means when you click on these buttons at the bottom, the user gets sent an email welcoming them to the Dash account and will include their login information. Once a user is created, you can click on their name. And you can change their name, especially if they've changed their name or you made a typo. Change credentials, you would use this to change their email address or their password. There's also a link there you can click on it to send them the password reset so they can change their password themselves. Change PIN, just change their voicemail box PIN number in case they're not available and you need to check their voicemail boxes. Here's the option to send emails to an alternate address, and then here's the user directory option. The pull down over here next to the person lets you change a user into an admin or an admin to a user. Little clock icon, this lets you change the time zone for the user, so that way their voicemail timestamps are correct for their time zone. Little flag icon lets you change the display language for these web pages for that user. The ringing timeout by default is 20 seconds, which is plenty of time to a landline or a VoIP phone. If you have a user who's only using a cell phone, you'd want to increase this to at least 30 seconds. Clicking on the phone number box for a user. Users can have their own phone numbers. Just be aware that these phone numbers are available 24/7. They don't have hours of operation. In the show notes, use that support page link, and you can do a search for adding a phone number or DID phone number. The device box for the user, we recommend adding devices directly to a user, just saves you a step. Here, I'm just going to only cover adding a soft phone. So I would click on New Device, and I would select Soft Phone. Whenever you add a soft phone or web phone, you're going to get this warning message. Just click on Close when you're done reading it. And then a large box will pop up here shortly. This is set up right here as a third-party application. You can read that down here at the very bottom. So this is if you're using someone else's soft phone app. You would just give it a name. You would copy the SIP username, click on the SIP password, copy that. Please don't change it or delete it. And then the account realm. Those are the 3 pieces of information you would need to program or provision that third-party soft phone. Then you click on Create Device and Save Changes. Now, if you want to use the VirtualPBX soft phone, on the user is the only place you can add the VirtualPBX soft phone. You start off with adding a soft phone, but down here where it says Use Third-Party Application, you click on that. It flips it. So now it says Use VirtualPBX Application. Still need to give it a name. Click on Create Device, and then click on Save Changes. Once you click on Save Changes, the user gets an email saying their VirtualPBX soft phone is ready. In the body of the email is their login information for use with the app. And then there's also download links so they can download the app to the relevant device that they want to use it on. Again, the only place you can add the VirtualPBX soft phone is directly to the user. Now, for adding other devices, you can use the support page links. There should also be a link for auto provisioning phones, which is for SIP phones. You can use that as well. And for looking up device, you can add, a cell phone, landline, etc. All right, user features. Caller ID number. This is for users with their own phone number. When you enable it, the phone number on the user becomes their outbound caller ID versus the main number on the account. Voicemail boxes. Voicemail boxes can hold 100 messages. After that, they are full. Can't accept any more. You have a couple ways to check voicemails. Right? You can call into your system and listen to your message over the phone and delete them. Also, under the menu icon, the user portal defaults you to your voicemail page, so you can listen to them there. You can also delete the messages from there as well. Follow Me, this is for users with multiple devices. So this user has 3 devices. Right now, when calls come into them, all 3 devices ring at the same time. Now, if the user doesn't want that, they would need to tell their system admin. They would then go to Follow Me. They would click Enable. Then they need to choose the devices that they're going to use. So under the Do Not Ring, uncheck the devices you want to use, and then click and drag the green bar to the right, so that way you have a ringing time. Now, the total ring time by default is 120 seconds. You can change it here, and then click Enter. You have a Distribute button. If I click on it, now I just equalize the timeout between these 2 devices. If I click and drag, I can change the order of these devices and then click Distribute again. Now, one thing to remember about the Follow Me user, the setting here, is if this user is part of a group, which we'll be covering shortly, calls from the group ignore the Follow Me feature. So this user, if he's in a group, all 3 of his devices ring. Any calls that come to his user directly would follow the Follow Me settings. Fax box, this allows you to create a fax box specifically for this user. Whoops. You can choose to add a separate phone number or an extension for that fax box. I recommend using a phone number so that way the user can send and receive faxes. If you just choose an extension, they can only ever receive a fax. Conference Bridge, this just enables conferencing for the user, which means they can host or moderate a conference. Call forwarding, your users can enable call forwarding themselves, either via the user portal or directly from their VoIP phones. For a system admin, you could also do that for the user, but there's also what's called failover mode, which is for VoIP phones. If the VoIP phone becomes unregistered, you can set up failover mode to automatically forward to, say, that user's cell phone so that the call isn't missed or doesn't go directly to voicemail. And then the user would know, oh, there must be something wrong with my VoIP phone, if they didn't already know. Customized call recording. This allows you to record inbound and outbound calls for the user. Music on hold. This lets you upload specific hold music for a user or group. So, like, you want your sales team to have hold music that talks about, particular promotions or what have you. Versus your tech support team, you might have one that just says, "Hey, for commonly asked questions, go to our FAQ page." Do Not Disturb allows you to put a user on Do Not Disturb or take them off Do Not Disturb. Hot desking is a VoIP phone feature. This allows users to log into the VoIP phone that they're sitting in, typically for a shared office environment, or where a situation where people don't have an assigned desk that they sit at or a phone. Okay, next up is groups, sometimes referred to as hunt groups or ring groups, basically departments. Up here at the top, you would click on Add Group. You need to give it a name and then an extension number. After that, you click and drag your staff members that you want to be in the group and then click on Create Group. Once a group is created, you can click on the name. You can always change the name if you need to. And then you have group call attempts. This is how many times the system will offer an inbound call to the members of the group. There's little arrows here at the far right. You can increase or decrease that as you need to. And then save changes. If you need to remove a group, you can also click on Delete Group. To the right of that, we have the members box, which just shows your members that you've assigned to the group and how you're offering calls to them. This is an example of blast ringing or ring all. Right? So basically everyone's offered the call at the same time. Whoever answers the call first gets the call. Now, up here at the top, you have your total ring time. The last one is you can edit, defaults to 120 seconds. You can change that as you see fit. You can also click distribute. Now, when you click distribute, calls to the group will always follow this order, right? So if Jeanette here is on a call and another call comes to the group, she still offered the call for that second call to the group initially, right? She'll hear a call waiting beep. Her person she's talking to won't hear anything. After 30 seconds, the call would then roll over to David, right? Third call comes in, same thing would happen. Rings to Jeanette, then to David, then to Dante, etc. Now, as an admin, you can then adjust after distributing so that there's less hold time for these later users if necessary. You can add users in case group gets suddenly busy. Just add from your existing staff. You can remove people if they're no longer part of this department. Groups are related to queues, right? Our contact center and product. You can look in the show notes. There should be the ACD QUEUES Pro demo link there. Queues allow users to log in and out of the group of the queue itself, as well as the queue knows when a staff member is available. So if they're on a call, it doesn't try to ring a person who's on a call. It just goes to the next available user. That's the primary advantage of a queue. If you're interested in queues, you're going to want to talk to our sales staff and ask them about the contact center product. Excuse me. Groups can have their own phone number. Just like for a user, it's available 24/7. It does not have hours of operation. And then we have some group features. Bring back is essentially a hold music for the group. You can click up here to enable, upload a .wav or MP3 file up to 1 megabyte. The one thing you want to make sure to know is that the system will not loop the file for you. So you want to make sure your ringback file will play as long as your total ring time of the group. If you left it at default of 120 seconds, make sure your ringback file plays for 120 seconds. Next action, what do you want the system to do if no one picks up? Right, so click to enable. This pull down has destinations on your system. You can send it to another user, a different group, or a specific voicemail box are the typical options that people select. Allow call forwarding. When you enable it, your users can make use of call forwarding. Generally speaking, that's for people with VoIP phones, so they can forward to their cell phones. If you have users who have a mix of devices, right, so they have their cell phone number in there as well as a VoIP phone, and if that's the case for all of your users, for instance, then you wouldn't need to make use of allow call forward. Caller ID prepend, this is for your VoIP phone users. This allows you to have either additional text or numbers show up on your staff members' VoIP phones in front of the inbound caller ID. So customer Mary calls in, your staff member Bob, his Yealing phone starts ringing. On his Yealing phone, he'll see the word support and then customer Mary's phone number, right? So he knows what the call's about. He can pick up and answer the call from there. All right, so once we have users with devices in groups, now we can go over to main number. Up here at the top, you have your main company numbers, right? So these are the default numbers people dial to reach your business. Anywhere you see by numbers, that means you're adding a new number to the account. Spare numbers is making use of a number you're not currently using. Office hours strategy, you can be open 24/7, or you can choose to be open for custom hours. If you choose to do so for each day of the week that you're open, put a check mark in front of the day, and then choose your open hours in 24-hour or military time. You also have the option to be closed for lunch. If you choose to do that, put a check mark there, and then set your lunch hours again in that 24-hour or military time. And then click on Save Changes. Office holidays, if you're closed for holidays, just put a check mark here. And then over here on the right, you have your options for single day, date, range, or advanced. Each one of these creates a new row. And then basically you just fill out the row, right? You want to give it a name. For date range, you give it a start date or end date. Single day, just put the date. and then save changes. If you need to remove a holiday, click on the little trash icon and then save changes. Incoming call handling. This is how your system is handling the calls that come in on your main numbers. You have an open hours tab, an after hours tab, and a holidays tab, so you can set it up differently for each one of those times. In the open hours, I have calls coming here to my virtual receptionist, which is a link. On the left is my main menu. These are what people press to navigate through my phone system. I can click Add Route to give myself an additional menu option. I have the default action plus 0 through 9 and the star key. Second pull down are things I've already created on my system, whether that's a user, a group, voicemail box, etc. If I don't need a menu option anymore, I can just click on the X to the right of it, and then I would click Save. Your greetings. This is where you would say, things like thank you for calling, but you also want to make sure you include instructions in terms of what to press to get to where. Right? Text to speech, it's just that. You type in the greeting and the system reads it back in the computerized robotic voice. The system names this file for you. So after you create a text to speech greeting, you're going to want to click on the greetings tab on the left, which we'll be getting to shortly, and rename the file to something that you'll recognize. Because like if you type in a greeting and then come back, oh, I missed an option, and type in something else, then you have two files with the exact same name, and you won't know which one is which. You can upload your own file, .wav, .mp3 file. Just click on Choose File to find the file on your device, and then Update. Choose from an existing recording. This pull down will show all your media files on the account, which is why you want names you can easily recognize. You would just click on Update. Recorded over the phone. By default, the system wants you to use a VoIP phone on the account. If you don't have one or aren't near one anymore, like let's say you forgot about a holiday and you're at home, you're like, oh, I need to do this, but you don't have a VoIP phone at home, you can still do so, right? You just go under Settings, and where it says Allow Outside Recording, you will turn this on. That allows you to change your main greeting over the phone with any phone, right? So you can call from your cell phone. Once you're done, though, we do recommend turning that back to off. Now, you also need this PIN number. This PIN number is specific to this time of day, so it only works during my open hours. All right, so if I called in on a Saturday, that PIN number would not work. I'd get an invalid entry message. Professional recording services, when you click order, this will open a new tab and take you to Snap Recordings, which is a separate company. You can have a professional done recording. They send you an email with the completed file, and then you would just come up to upload your own file. Settings, number of retries on missed dial. This is how many times your inbound caller can make a mistake. They have one built-in attempt. So anything you enter here is on top of that built-in attempt. So I have one here. My customers have 2 attempts to get through my system, or my auto attendant here. Dialing timeout. This is how much time the system listens before it says the person's done entering a multi-digit extension. Allow dialing extensions. By default, this is on, and that just means if a caller enters a valid extension number, the system simply transfers the call. If you turn that off, they can only press the menu option. Anything else is considered an invalid entry. Suppress playing of invalid entry. So on that final attempt, the system by default says we did not recognize your entry. Now, if there's a default action, it then transfers the call. It says transferring your call. If I click X here to remove that, and I have this, off, sorry. So customer fails to make it through my system. The system says we do not recognize your entry, and then says goodbye. Now, in the case where I do have a default action, from feedback we've gotten from our customers, it's best in this case where you have the default action to turn the suppression on. So that way the system just says transferring your call. There's nothing about we did not recognize your entry. Now, any changes you make to your main menu or your greetings or your settings. You need to click Save down here at the bottom right. When you come back to incoming call handling, you need to click Save Changes here. So you're clicking Save twice. Right, after hours, I'm using the second option here. This is the live operator answer option. And what that means is basically I'm offering the call to either a staff member or multiple staff members in the case of groups. If they can't answer the call, then the caller is sent to my virtual receptionist. Since this is after hours, I have different menu options and a different greeting, but beyond that, everything is the same we were just looking at. And then during my holidays, I use this third option. The first pull down, you have locations on your system, whether that's a user, a group, a device, or even a media file. After the system is done offering the call to that location, then it sends it to the voicemail box you determined. In this case, I chose the last option, which is say, don't bother trying to ring to anything or play a media file. Just send it to the main voicemail box because it's a holiday. Main conference number, you get multiple conference numbers if you want. Once you have a conference number in place, you can choose to have a custom text-to-speech greeting. Even if you leave this disabled, the system says welcome to the conference and then asks you to enter the conference room number and PIN number. The main fax box number, you can have one main fax box number, and once you do, you can then edit the fax box. In the notification email, in the box to the right, you can enter an email address. That is the address the system will send messages to when a fax is completed, which will include a PDF of the fax message. Just be aware, if someone dials your fax box number and then hangs up, this email is still sent a message saying there was a failed inbound fax attempt. Email permissions, in the box to the right, you can enter an email address or, as is shown here, your company's email domain. If you choose your company's email domain, that means anyone at your company can send a fax on the account, even if they're not a user. To send a fax out, create an email like you normally do from your work email address. In the to field, you put the destination number. That is +1, area code and phone number, no spaces, dashes, or parentheses. And then you would click on the @ symbol and then this account realm. After that, you need to attach a PDF or TIFF file. And that's all the system will send is a PDF or TIFF, right? So the system is looking at the to field, right, to know where it's going to send the message to, the from field to make sure that's a valid person to be sending a fax, and then the attachment, hopefully a PDF or TIFF. In the email, right, if you type in that subject line, that information does not get transmitted. Anything you type in the body of the email does not get transmitted. One receipt or one recipient per email, one attachment per email. So make sure any signature files you have are removed. All right, auto attendance is a plan-specific or add-on feature. This allows you to create additional menus, whether that's because you want something to be standalone or just additional menu options. Up here at the top, you click on Add Attendant. You need to give it a name and then an extension number. Click on Create Attendant. Now, when you first create an attendant, it defaults to being unavailable main menu. If you want it to be a menu option off of, say, your virtual receptionist, just click on this toggle here, and now it can be a menu option off of your virtual receptionist. It can even be a next action option from a group. Auto attendants can have their own phone number if you want them to. So this will just be another way to enter into your system, either from adding a spare or buying new. We have a little wrench icon here under settings.